Good evening and welcome. You're watching Reality Check. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. The battle for Bengal is now reaching its peak. It has its daily share of political drama. The BJP was confident all this while that it can not just pose as the principal challenger to Mamata Banerjee, but even defeat her in her own battlefield of West Bengal. What gave them confidence were the results of the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, where they won many seats. In fact, very interestingly, many of the MPs who won back then are now contesting the Vidhan Sabha elections for the Bharatiya Janata Party. They've all been given tickets. But could the events of the past few days throw a spanner in the works for the Bharatiya Janata Party? It seems that the BJP is at war with the BJP in the state. The foot soldier, the Karyakarta, upset with the imports from the TMC, a complaint within the BJP that turncoats have greater place than the people who worked hard for the party. A growing resentment that a person in the BJP as of this moment in West Bengal is as good as being a new entrant from the Trinamool Congress. A feeling that those who worked hard on the ground have been denied tickets simply because they were already there in the party. They did not jump ship and come in. Should this be treated as a standard pre-poll practice? Because if you speak to many people in the BJP, they say these things keep happening ahead of every election. You have people upset and then eventually everything is under control. Every political party goes through this. Or is there a really big reason for the Bharatiya Janata Party to worry? Big meetings are happening with the entire decision-making body of the West Bengal unit and the central leadership in Delhi to talk about the problem so far and discuss ticket distribution for the future. How worried should the BJP be with this resentment? We are going to discuss this and a lot more on this edition of Reality Check. But first, it's over to my colleague Meher Pandey to help you understand what exactly has happened and its true impact on the ground.
Since the BJP announced its second list of candidates for the assembly election in Bengal on Sunday, BJP's own members have ransacked party offices. This is because many are angry at the party for fielding newcomers who have defected from rival parties, primarily the TMC in Kolkata. In Kolkata, BJP's workers protested outside the office, the party's election office. They heckled senior leaders including Mukul Roy, former union minister and current vice president of BJP, and Arun Singh, national general secretary of the party and Rajya Sabha MP. In Singur, Hooghly, party members ransacked the BJP office for 2 days. In Chinsura, the district headquarters was vandalized. This is most interesting because it is BJP's own sitting MP from the Hooghly seat, Lokit Banerjee, who has been named as the assembly seat candidate. But local BJP leaders feel they've been looked over. In Haripal Hooghly again, the BJP office was ransacked. In Uttarpara, posters were put up against the TMC defector, now standing as the BJP candidate. In Panchla Howrah, BJP offices were ransacked. Remember the political landscape in which these nominations were released. Over the past few months, BJP's ranks have become populated with TMC defectors. 25 TMC MLAs, 2 TMC ex-MLAs, including Suvendu Adhikari, who used to be Mamata Banerjee's right-hand man, 1 MP and 1 ex-MP have joined the BJP. How many of these defectors have got BJP tickets? From our count, at least 10 ex-TMC leaders are now BJP candidates. Out of these, at least 8 have been vocally opposed by BJP members who are now protesting. They say that newcomers are being preferred over the original BJP leaders, which is what they call themselves. And now at least 8 upset BJP politicians are filing their nominations as independent candidates.
All right, thank you very much, Meher, for that very comprehensive analysis, factual as to what exactly has happened. The number of people who have come to the BJP and how many of them have been accommodated with tickets over the original choice of people from within the party. Let's put this to a quick discussion. Bhaskar Ghosh, leader of the BJP, is with us. We have Jaideep Mazumdar, associate editor of Swaraj magazine, Professor Monojit Mondal, TMC member, Shivajit Bagchi, senior journalist, and in just a short moment we'll have Monideepa Banerjee also joining us of NDTV. Bhaskar Ghosh, let's begin with you. Will you or will you not admit that this is a cause of worry? Look at the manner in which these protests have broken out. In the world of politics, where perception matters a lot, I mean, if you will have BJP pitted against BJP, what sort of image is this going to send out?
Yes, Sanket, I think I am the right person and one of the right person to answer this question, because yesterday when all this agitation was going on, I was a person present in the BJP headquarters at Hastings, and I am the person who has talked with all of those agitated Karyakartas for 4 to 5 hours. So I can tell you two things out of my discussion, which is not an open to public discussion, but I can assure you one thing, that after 6 o'clock yesterday, the entire mob has been dispersed from the party headquarters, not by any force, but they have understood that this is a party with a difference, and they have to maintain the regimentation of the party.
No, Mr. Ghosh,
unlike the TMC and Congress and CPM.
No, we'll come to TMC, Congress.
Let me finish.
We'll come to TMC, Congress and CPM
no,
later.
No, let me finish. Let me give my statement.
Oh.
Sanket, let me give my statement, which is important.
Sure.
So I object that whatever your channel is showing, that this is an TMC, tickets TMC, and therefore the entire things have been upside down. It is not the fact. This is the fact that this party is coming to the power. This party's ticket is in very, very high demands, and people are emotionally attached with the party. Yesterday, each of those representative of the agitator has told me one thing, that now onwards we will work for the parties win in the respective assemblies. And
Mr.
from
Ghosh,
today, you see, I just
now
coming
if your
from
opening
straight from
comment
party
is done,
headquarters to the
I want to tell you
your
that
studio, there is not a single person is present
Mr.
there.
Ghosh, yesterday there were situations where a mild lathi charge had to be done. So you saying that people automatically, out of respect and the regimented existence in the BJP, decided to go back? No, that is factually wrong.
I am talking about the lathi charge timing. Lathi charge timing. You see, I am talking about 6:30 in the evening we are talking about. So we have started the discussion from 1:30 and 6:30. We have made them understand that under what circumstances.
So you are saying that there is absolutely no problem. It was just a misunderstanding. All of it is over. Party is united. You are winning the West Bengal
Yes,
election.
and today there is not a single. Today you sent your cameraman there, not a single party member are agitating over there.
Sure.
I just came right from Hastings to your studio to answer this queries.
That very well may be the case.
With all responsibility,
Mr.
I
Ghosh,
am telling you, not a single person.
that may very well be the case. I am not denying this fact. But the point is, the scenes that we saw yesterday were ugly. It appeared as if here is a party which is not united. The ticket distribution has been a messy affair. And that is why many of your leaders are in the national capital.
Everyone has got the right to expression.
Which is why your leaders are here in the national capital, perhaps to discuss the next set of seats and also to deliberate on what to do with the existing seats. I don't know what promise. Have you made any promise?
You are wrong. Today the leaders are there to discuss on the second lot of declaration of the
and no seats will be changed.
Fifth and sixth round of this.
You're saying that
tickets to be declared.
You're saying that none of the seats or none of the candidates are going to be changed, whether it is in Kolkata, Shingur, Chinsura, Haripal, Uttarpara, Panchala. None of these seats are going to be changed or candidates. Is that a confirmation? Am I to believe that BJP is not going to change any candidate?
Let me tell you one thing. BJP is a party which goes into continuous overhauling, continuous exchange of opinion within
so ahead of the
nominations
change,
of the decision makers.
Ahead of the nominations, changes can happen.
But one thing I can tell you. No. One thing I can tell you, if the change is for the betterment of the party, that will happen.
Sure.
But not under any pressures.
Sure.
Not under
which is a
any
right which
undue
every
pressure.
political
That much I
party
can confirm
reserves.
you on record.
Which is a right every political party reserves. There is a date also for the withdrawal of the nomination. So fair enough. But you know, this confidence that one can see in Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh that all is well, is that really the case? Let's study the political impact first before I bring in the TMC's representative. I have with me Jaideep Mazumdar is also with us. Mr. Mazumdar, how do you look at this this situation? The scenes.
There is definitely a lot of dissent. The old-timers are not very happy in the BJP, etc. We all know that. And that is bound to happen. But I wouldn't, really say that there's a lot of, it will affect the BJP's poll prospects, etc. I'm sure they'll be able to put the house in order for the actual polls. I'm pretty sure about that.
And you don't see this being a problem in the future? How people who have been turncoats essentially have been rewarded? There is a long list of the number of people from TMC who have jumped ship, and the rate of them being accommodated for party tickets is very high.
Definitely, but if I look at neighboring Assam, the BJP has managed it very well in neighboring Assam, and I don't see any reason why it can't do so in West Bengal as well.
But where does that leave, Mr. Mazumdar, where does that leave people who have worked within the party all this while very hard? I think that was the grudge.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for the BJP and say what is going to happen to them, but I'm sure,
they'll manage.
As a huge political party, will find its way to reward them in some organizational post, etc.
Sure. Shubhajit Bagchi, where do you stand on this issue?
Well, you see, what I understand, in Bengal, if you look at the history of Bengal, last 70 years, there have been these fights. You look at the Congress in the 1950s, 60s, the Hooghly lobby, Calcutta lobby, Midnapur lobby used to fight like this. So it is just an extension of that fight. It goes on. Other than CPIM, it continues. Having said that, so I do understand and I do guess that every political party has this problem, and BJP, maybe it is little more, little less, but BJP, I guess, will able to manage this. Now, having said that, one or two cases I would like to highlight. For example, in Kharagpur constituency. Now, Kharagpur has been a bastion of RSS for ages. You have this Gopali Ashram there, which has been playing a critical role for the candidates for many years. Dilip Ghosh, the party president, has been winning from there. There are very capable leaders within RSS, old BJP, not too old, old BJP, but these candidates are not too old. They are in their 50s or 40s. And they're very capable leaders. Now you ask RSS, ask the old BJP, why they had to get somebody from Tollygunge film industry to be the candidate there. That gives an indication, a signal that they are not trusting their own people. And they always talk about discipline, regimentation, RSS, etc. That's one example. The other example, the Singur constituency. We all know how important is Singur in Bengal. Now BJP has got this Rabindranath Bhattacharya in that constituency. Now, Rabindranath Bhattacharya is the face of anti-industrialization, big capital, anti-investment in the state, just not in Singur. Across the state, everybody knows Rabindranath Bhattacharya because he was in the forefront of the movement, the Singur movement, which has brought Mamata Banerjee to power.
And he is now part of the BJP.
BJP has been consistently talking about industrialization, big investment capital, bringing in the state. And they have a face in Singur who is totally against all of that. So what kind of message, what kind of signal? It's not a question of winning or losing all the time. It's a question of a message.
Okay, so before I go to Professor Mandal, I think Mr. Bagchi is making some interesting points. I have to give Mr. Ghosh a right to reply. Professor Mandal, I'll just come back to you. Mr. Ghosh, you heard what Mr. Bagchi had to say. It almost appears that the more things change in Bengal, the more they remain the same.
Now, let me answer Mr. Bagchi point to point instead of, because time is very limited.
Yeah.
In Kharagpur, what he mentioned, the Gopali Ashram, because I am the person who has fought the Kharagpur election 2016, 2019. I know this Gopali Ashram, this is by VHP, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, but Gopali Ashram was never never a epicenter for choosing any candidate. Dilip Ghosh was a pracharak turned politician, and he was the president of Bengal BJP when he was selected 2016. Not because he was a pracharak or he is from RSS, because he was a competent candidate over there who has dislodged the hegemony of a 93-year-old Chachaji of Kharagpur. I fought the election along with Dilip Ghosh on the ground. I know every realities. Perhaps Mr. Bagchi is not aware of that. Second, coming to Singur, Rabindranath Bhattacharya is not anti-industrialization or anti-factory or something like establishment.
Yeah, sure.
Rabindranath Bhattacharya has led the Singur, and what was the demand of Rabindranath Bhattacharya? That if there is an excess land over the land needed for the industry, for the Tata Motors, they should give it back to the farmers. They should not retain it, and that was the stand of Rabindranath Bhattacharya. He was never anti-Tata or anti-industrialization. It was a wrong approach and wrong concept, and wrongly quoted. So in both the cases, like Kharagpur was, again, when Dilip Ghosh went to Kharagpur, he was not a son of the soil. He is a son of the soil from Paschim Midnapur, Gopi Ballabpur. He was never from Kharagpur, but he has owned. Today, Hiranmay Chatterjee, who has been pitched over there, he is not from Kharagpur, but Kharagpur by the time is our stronghold, because the MP is from Kharagpur.
Sure.
MP is from Paschim Midnapur.
Sure,
so we are trying
Mr. Bagchi got into the details.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Bagchi got into the details, made his points. I'm glad that you also have gone into the details to explain your side of the story, your point that it's not really a matter of great concern and things will not change on the ground. Fair enough. Let me bring in Professor Mondal. Professor Mondal, now, you know, a small constituency in any political party is often upset with the process of ticket distribution. It's clearly, I mean, there is a lot at stake, so there will be a constituency that will be upset. I'm sure there will be many upset within the Trinamool Congress also with the ticket distribution. So, I mean, should a lot be read into resentment, or should this be treated as normal pre-election practice?
Sanket, let me take you back to 2011, exactly 10 years ago. What happened? We had clear idea in our mind that real air of change was definitely there, and we did not have any problem in ticket distribution because we knew what is going to happen. Our agenda was quite clear. The people of Bengal wanted a change, real change, Ashal Parivartan, and that happened. We don't have any problem in 2011, 2016, and 2021 as well. Look at what is happening in the BJP. It's not just about a misfit candidate, Sanket. Look at the allegations. Probably you are glossing over those allegations. Some of the portfolio holders coming from the district are actually alleging that some of the state and central leaders are taking money to distribute, candidates. You please, put on the soundbite, put on the interviews. You'll understand. They're coming from the district. They're portfolio holders of the district saying that some of the state leaders and the central leaders are taking money to the tune of crores.
You should look into your own sleeves.
No, this has to be.
You cannot retain your senior most politicians.
You see,
how you are
talking one by one, please, one by one. Mr. Ghosh, one by one, please.
I was presently only hearing you and yourself. Okay? So please, I mean, let me have my say, have some courtesy. The fact remains, Sanket. Now there are 3 BJP, in fact 4. Old one, RSS BJP, and the people who defected from other parties either in 2014 or after 2014, and the people who have defected after 29, C, like Shubhendu Adhikari, Rajiv Banerjee, BJP C. Now, you have a TMC D who defected after the announcement of our ticket. 10 of them. And some of them have got tickets like Rabindranath Bhattacharya, a 89 years old gentleman. I wish him luck if he gets the ticket. And, he should be there till the end of his tenure. If he wins at all, if ultimately he wins, I wish he's not going to win. I understand. Whereby they have actually dismissed their own norms of distributing tickets beyond 75 years age. Why this, this concession was made to Mr. Rabindranath Bhattacharya? Because they did not have any candidate. Even with the TMC leftovers like Rajiv Banerjee, they are unable to fill 294 candidates. 3 weeks after the announcement of the poll date.
Okay, Bhaskar Ghosh, very quickly, last, Bhaskar Ghosh, a lot has been said by Professor Mondal. He's saying that, you know, it is a fact that, one more, we also reported right here on this channel that in various meetings within the BJP, this has been a matter of, Bengal is a very peculiar situation for the Bharatiya Janata Party, where you're not getting enough candidates. Why else, or how exactly will you explain that you have to import, you know, MPs to come and contest the Vidhan Sabha polls? How would you respond? How would you respond, Mr. Ghosh? Mr. Ghosh and then Mr. Mazumdar.
Now, Sanket,
it's a different strategy, but needs explanation.
I will ask
Quickly.
I will just raise 2 points. Number one, how we got the Assam and we have successfully gliding through Assam and the second consecutive elections. How we have done in Tripura. How we are doing in Bengal when Trinamool Congress 2011 has taken over Congress as well as the CPM, then Professor Mondal has forgotten that history. What we are doing, we are not asking anyone to come. They are leaving TMC and ask them to join BJP. And we are a national party. So we have got, we have to accommodate people in the regional level also.
Accommodate
what we are
to a point where your own will get upset.
Yes.
How accommodating do you want to be? That's very accommodating of you.
No, not at all. When there is expansion, there is a perfect. There was a perfect competition.
Mr. Mazumdar's last word,
and out
10
of the
seconds,
perfect
running out of time.
competition, our parliamentary board is choosing the right person. That's what they're doing it.
Smart move on the part of the BJP to, you know, you're talking about nominating a minister. I think nominating Babul Supriyo for Tollywood was a pretty smart move. In case Mamata Banerjee intends to contest from there, then she'll run into a tough contest. Number one. And at the end of the day, so, you know, winning, that is what matters. Coming to power. After that, what will happen, industrialization is, and all that is something else.
Okay. I've run out of time. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And before we end this edition of Reality Check, let's make you listen to what Mamata Banerjee has to say about the Bharatiya Janata Party in the manifesto release function just now.
আর বিজেপির মতো সবচেয়ে হাই লোডেড ভাইরাস একটা রাজনৈতিক দল সরি টু সে দিস ওয়ার্ড ইট ইজ নট ফর এনি ডিজিজ পারপাস ইট ইজ ফর পলিটিক্যাল পারপাস প্লিজ এক্সকিউজ মি ফর দ্যাট হাই লোডেড ভাইরাস a political party is playing all the nasty game, that dirty game. We don't want to play that game. We want to play the fair game.